Well, it's time now for some business news, and we're heading to Davos, where the World Economic Forum continues to host global leaders. France 24's Yuka Royer is standing by for us in snowy Davos. Yuka, what are the key highlights today? Set to be an appearance by the French President Emmanuel Macron.
That's right, Haxi. Well, a day after giving a rare prime-time press conference at home, President Macron is heading to Davos, on a charm offensive, really, accompanied by some 20 business leaders. Now, it's the second time Macron attends the World Economic Forum in person since becoming president. In his New Year address, he said that 2024 would be a year of French pride and hope as it prepares to host the Summer Olympics and other key events. So Davos provides an opportunity to promote the country on the global stage as an attractive investment destination. So the choice of CEOs accompanying him is no coincidence. According to sources, the presidential palace chose small and medium-sized companies and startups, and not regulars, not those big companies that are regulars at Davos anyway. Because the aim really is to give them a chance to access the international market and accelerate growth. Now, before he delivers his special address this afternoon, he will hold a meeting with some 60 global business leaders as well. And his speech is also expected to touch on economic and social reforms during his presidency, as well as to address French and European industrial sovereignty.
Meanwhile, Yuka, weak growth, climate change, of course, and warnings over AI, artificial intelligence, are very much set to feature high on the agenda.
Well, dominant issues at Davos this year are not cheerful ones, and the slowing economy is one of them. It's really at the top of many leaders here. To discuss more, I'm joined by Regina Mayor, Global Head of Clients at the KPMG International. Thank you, Regina, for joining us. Now, so as I've just said, we have a lot to worry about this year with growth slowing across the globe and supply chain issues persisting. Where do you think the global economy is headed this year?
We're predicting a lot slower growth in our recently published Global Economic Outlook, an average of 2.2%, which is down from 2.4% in 2023. Now, that's an average, so that means some countries, some parts of the world are higher than others. In France and Europe, unfortunately, we're expecting a lot slower growth than we're seeing. We're seeing more persistent inflation in the European continent than we're seeing elsewhere. We're not seeing the economic easing. We're seeing the lack of stimulus. We're seeing higher unemployment than we see in other parts of the world. In the U.S. economy, it's the strength of the consumer that continues to power the economy. We're not seeing that yet in Europe. So overall, slower growth with bright spots in different parts of the world.
What about in the global south? China yesterday, for instance, its prime minister said that China's growth in 2023 reached 5.2%. That was better than expected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so China continues to show quite robust growth. And again, if the consumer can be more engaged in the economy, we will see them continue to drive greater growth than we'll see in other parts of the world.
On the consumer side, inflation has eased, but wage growth hasn't caught up with inflation. For many people, that means that the cost of living crisis is not quite yet over.
Yeah, and that's where we're seeing a lack of consumer confidence. Overall, globally, consumer sentiment is more pessimistic. And as we lean into an election year where literally half the world is going to be going to the polls to vote, that economic confidence and concern about growth is going to continue to be a driver of sentiment in terms of slowing growth overall.
And there's a lot of attention on a potential impact of AI on society and on the economy. How big is this issue?
Well, AI can be a great driver of growth because it can really improve productivity and it can enable all of us to be more effective as workers. Given that we have a shortage of qualified, able workers in different parts of the world, the promise of technology is quite appealing. Of course, we have to figure out how to use it for good versus potentially having it be manipulated in nefarious ways.
Well, Regina Mayor, Global Head of Client and Markets at KPMG International. Thank you so much for joining France 24. And that's it from Davos for now. Back to you, Haxi.
Yuka Royer and Regina Mayor, thank you both very much indeed.